Hi, Daniel. Can you hear me? Oh, you're on mute. I can see your mouth moving though, so it looks like you can hear me, which is great. I'm just doing a sound check. Just want to make sure that I'm coming through loud and clear.
You are coming through okay here.
Awesome. All right. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. So welcome to those. Jeff, I see you're on the call.
Yep, I'm here. Hold on.
Hi. Good to see you.
You too.
Yeah, we should have a good amount of people signing or joining us today. So, we'll give everyone a few more minutes. We'll just chit chat in the meantime. I'm still sending out the final emails going out to let everyone know that we are live. So I expect more people to hop on. Colleen, great to see you. Always looking so great with your background.
Always looking forward to learn something from you, Gelly.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Gosh, hope I can deliver. This is a great present. I've got some great results, I should say. There's so many amazing results happening right now. I had a lot of fun putting this together. Lots of screenshots, so definitely lots to share. All right, so let's see. We've got Ted. Ted, great to see you. So Ted, on my screen, you're right next to Jeff. And Jeff's background is the Hawaii virtual screen, and Ted, yours is the Arizona backyard, and you're literally side by side. And I'm like, well, which one?
Well, that's my backyard, Kelly. Come on, that's my backyard. I'm going swimming right after this meeting.
I don't doubt it. Yes, except that I've seen that virtual background used a number of times, so you can't trick me like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. We've got Melvin. Good to see you. Lisa, a pleasure to see you again in the virtual calls. Lisa, so we've got Lisa Bartholomew. We've got Lisa Long. We've got Linda. Hi, Linda. Great to see you. Let's see. Jane is here. We've got Rex. We've got Rena signing on. Joel, Gordon. Let's see. Richard, Monique, Anna, Julie, Brittany, either Louis or Louise. I'm not sure. We've got April. We've got Jesus. We're going to have a lot of people signing on. I'm not going to be able to go through everyone's name. I just want to acknowledge as many of you as I can because you're all popping up on my screen. I have it on the gallery view. So everyone that's signing on is, I see you're in small, tiny squares, and as more people sign on, the squares get smaller and smaller. So at some point, it's hard for me to keep track, but it's always fun. So let's see, on my clock, it says 12. So we'll give everyone, again, just a few more minutes and we will get this party started. So much to cover today. Is anybody on the call outside of Arizona? No, not today. Today, we're all here local. Sometimes, we get people from all over the US. So it's always interesting to see where people are signing on from. Let's see, what's another? So if you're all from Arizona, I'm assuming most of you are from Phoenix, and most of you experienced the wind that yesterday, that crazy wind. So I decided it was going to be a good idea to go for a jog in that crazy wind. And I was jogging on a trail. By the time I got home, I couldn't tell if I was having a severe allergic reaction, starting to get a head cold, or I started to Google onset of COVID because I was so stuffed up. And it wasn't just stuffed up. I mean, I was having like head cold symptoms, and I took allergy medicine and, vitamin C and all that good stuff. Long story short, I'm pretty sure it was just an allergic reaction from all the winds and the dust. But so I am.
I'm going to wag my finger at you, Gelly. That's a good way to get valley fever. Don't do it.
Oh, that's a good point. You're right. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I just thought it was great. I'm just trying to, it's going to get hot pretty soon. I just wanted to get as much good weather in as possible to go outside and play. But Dan, now that you said that, now you're scaring me even more. So, all right, I'll go back to the treadmill, the boring treadmill. Sharon, so good to see you. Hi. I saw your name pop up on the registration. I was like, oh, I get to see Sharon today. And Julie, it's been a little while. Good to see you. James, good to see you as well.
Good to see you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so like I said, I'm probably not going to get everyone to say hello to all the screens keep moving. So now I don't know who I've said hello to, but we'll go ahead and start. So thank you all for being here. We are going to talk about some phenomenal things that are happening on LinkedIn right now, and I'm going to move fast because there's a lot to cover, but we're going to be covering a very specific topic. Okay, and I'll get into all of that in just a minute. Before I do want to introduce myself to those of you that may not be as familiar with me and maybe don't know me. So my name is, we'll start with my name. My name is Gelly. Okay, it's pronounced like Kelly with a hard G. It's a little bit different. And I have been running Networking Phoenix since 2008. I decided to quit. Well, I didn't decide to quit my job. I quit my job accidentally, but I decided to pursue a side hustle of mine, which was all about networking. It was all about networking and connecting with people and building out a website that had a calendar on it that the calendar listed all the different networking events in town, right? So this is how I kind of got my start 13, 14 years ago. And we launched this website on January 1st, 2008, which is now known as networkingphoenix.com. Again, for those of you that are local, we launched it January 1st, 2008. And I'm sure most of you remember what happened in January of 2008. Our awesome economy started to take that nosedive and people started to get laid off. They started to Google networking events and they landed on Networking Phoenix. So I was at the right place at the right time in many ways. And the website skyrocketed. I mean, I couldn't keep up with it. So in a nutshell, that's how I got my start. But we'll talk about it a little bit more in a minute. So what I want to do now is we'll begin with the presentation. I think we had more people join. So welcome to those of you that just joined. We are about to start. You haven't missed anything. I am going to share my screen. Okay, and we'll get going. So one thing I want to say when I'm sharing my screen, I can't see the chat. All right. So if you would like to say anything, please go ahead and unmute yourself because it's like it's the way that it's set up. If I go on the chat, I might lose something else and it's a little too much to manage. So you can unmute yourself, no problems. All right. So we're going to talk today about how to find clients on LinkedIn in 2021. And I'm saying 2021 in particular because LinkedIn constantly changes their algorithm and we'll talk about that. Okay. So a few housekeeping items. Smile, you are in camera. Okay, I am recording this. I can see all of you. Don't do anything weird on camera. That's happened to me before where people forget I'm sharing my screen, so they forget I can see them and so can everyone else. So turn your camera off if you need to, move around or whatnot. I will ask you to please keep all questions until the end, because again, I'm not able to see the chat. And at the end, it's much easier if you just jot down your questions and then you can unmute yourself and we can have more of a discussion. Okay, because again, there's a lot to cover. And I do encourage you to close down your email, anything else you might be doing during the presentation. I know we all like to multitask, but it gets distracting. Okay, so those are a few of my housekeeping items. Now, I do want you to stay till the very end to get your questions answered, and also as to give you like a bonus to stay till the very end, I will be sharing the LinkedIn Optimal Post checklist. Okay, so where a lot of this presentation is based off of this checklist, so you're going to want this checklist. It's going to make life a lot easier for you. So at the very end, I'm just going to put the link in the presentation. All right, so just giving you a little incentive. Hopefully that works. So again, this was just for those of you that just joined, I'm going to give like a quick 10 to 15 second, version, like how did I get started in this? Launched the website in January 2008, had no idea the economic crisis was about to come. Everybody starts Googling where to go network. They land on my website. I can barely keep up with it because there's so much demand for listing events, for finding events. I decided to host my very first networking event as a kind of a launch party. I asked my mom to do registration for me, right? Because that was what I asked. I asked my mom. I thought maybe 100 people would show up, right? I sent out only 4 emails, not even knowing how to send an email. Okay, like I don't have a background in email marketing at this point, 13 years ago. Over 600 people showed up. It was a logistical nightmare. The police had to come out to direct traffic. You can see in the pictures. I mean, the line was looped around the resorts. I ran up to the front to greet people. I was like, what is happening right now? My heart was pounding. I was not prepared for 600 people. You could see I was wearing a pink tank top and jeans. Luckily, I brought my blazer with me. I was like, oh, all of a sudden I felt like I should be more perfect. Mind you, I was only 27 at the time, right? So growing pains, right? This is, I got to grow up in the public eye here in Phoenix in, in many ways. So that's where I got my start. So as of today, again, I'm the founder of networkingphoenix.com. We are the largest networking professional community here in Phoenix, Arizona, right behind the ASU Alumni Association, which I'm not sure that I would put them in the same category as me, but they do. So I have a quick picture of that. I love I woke up one morning, my friend texted me this picture. This is from this year. So we're number 2, and my friends text me this and they get so excited. And I'm like, yeah, I was number 1 until ASU decided to list themselves in this category. So, but for all intents and purposes, we are number 1. All right. So I also do coaching and consulting. I work with small business owners, entrepreneurs, probably, much like yourselves, and I help them with marketing, copywriting, LinkedIn training, networking. I mean, all the different marketing hats that a solopreneur and a small business owner needs to wear. I help my members within the community with that. So that's that. And then if anyone is interested in the rest of my story, I do have a TEDx talk, which I'm so proud of, right? Because it's a big honor that I was asked to do a TEDx talk. So you can always Google that in case that's of interest to you and learn a little bit more about you. Some people like that. Okay, so here we go. And I already talked about this page. Here we are again. We have over 43,000 members. We cater to business owners, entrepreneurs, business development professionals, really anybody that should be networking. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about me today. And now we're flipping it over to you. So who are you and why are you here? Like I said, most of you are probably small business owners, solopreneurs, business development professionals. You're here because you're networking, you're looking for clients. I mean, obviously, right? Unless you're here to kumbaya with me, which is also wonderful. I will take all the kumbayas, but I'm sure you're here for a different purpose. So, today's training in particular, let me tell you why LinkedIn is so in me. And I almost feel like this is common knowledge, but maybe it's not. So let me repeat this. So LinkedIn, as of 10/30/2020, okay, so very recently, had 766 million users. I'm sure that number has grown, but I mean, this is a huge number. People are, many of us have been on LinkedIn and many more are joining now. But also people didn't quite know how to use LinkedIn. And many are actually starting to learn how to use it now because of all that's happening in the world, right? Like the very obvious reasons. So let me give you some more interesting stats. 90 million LinkedIn users are senior level influencers and 63 million are in decision-making positions, right? So if you're looking for decision makers and you're looking for those people that could work with you should be on LinkedIn. Additionally, 44% of LinkedIn users take home more than $75,000 per year. That means they can probably afford your services. All right. So this is why these are just a few of the reasons why LinkedIn is so hot. It always has been, but it's getting even more so. And I'll explain to you in a few minutes what that means. Okay. So let's talk about LinkedIn. Okay, so what's going on with LinkedIn? What's going on with LinkedIn right now? Why is LinkedIn, in this particular moment, something unique is happening? So LinkedIn has been trying to get people from the other platforms, right? So Facebook, of course, was kind of like the biggest platform that many people used in the past. And Facebook right now is not so hot. It's not like many people don't really want to be on it. They're not engaging on there. If we are on there, we're typically in groups for a particular reason. So we are, LinkedIn is saying, great. So how do we kind of take some of these users that are leaving Facebook, or let's pull them off Facebook, and what's the incentive that we can give them, right? Everything is about incentive. So their incentive for a little while now has been that their algorithm is super friendly. What do I mean by that? So if any of you used to use Facebook, 5-6 years ago, you would post a post, and if your friends liked it, others would see it, others in their network, people that you aren't connected to. LinkedIn is really not that friend, or Facebook is not that friendly anymore, but LinkedIn has made their algorithm that friendly. So they're making it super easy for you to get discovered. Essentially, they're showing your post in your network's feed at a higher rate. And whenever somebody from your network engages with your post, then their network gets to see it. I'm going to show you some examples of that because I know that we're all visual, but the main point to take away from this is that what's happening right now on this time in LinkedIn, their algorithm is very friendly. And that means you have a much better chance of being seen by your potential prospects and potential new clients. Okay, so that's key to remember through this whole presentation. So we're visual. Let me show you some examples. Okay, so here's Catherine. Many of you might actually know Catherine because she's a part of our community. And Catherine took my LinkedIn course that I ran in January. And there's a particular formula that we follow in order to create engaging posts, which I'm going to show you in the presentation. So Catherine, for the first time after, during taking the course, she followed this formula. She does this post. She got over 35,000 views, 115 engagements, right? Engagements are when somebody likes it or loves it or gives it a clap. That's an engagement. 39 comments. Okay, this post, this was one of her, a post where she got the most engagement and comments and engaging conversations. Okay, because what we're going for is engaging conversations as well. And I will talk about that deeper. But these were her results with just one post. So the reason I'm showing you this is that I want to tell you that everything I'm going to show you in this presentation, this is not like, there's no big secret. There's no any of you can do this. Okay, this was just from her first post. Here is Dawn. Okay, Dawn is in my private mastermind group that I run on Tuesdays. Same thing. I had Dawn follow the formula, and her results, over 2,000 views, 73 engagements, 23 comments. Her comment was, Gelly, all the posts that I've ever done on LinkedIn previously combined still didn't get these kind of numbers. All right. And again, this was just her following my formula. Well, it's not mine, but it's the formula that we should be using on LinkedIn when we share posts. Okay. Here's Wayne. Now, Wayne, again, I don't know if Wayne is on the call, but many of you also might know Wayne because he's also a member of our community. Same exact thing. And he got, well, I'll read this to you, 31 engagements, 11 comments, and over 1,000 views. Okay, so he said it right here. He was so kind. He actually posted a little testimonial on his LinkedIn. I took a screenshot. He said, Gelly, your LinkedIn training course is awesome. I highly recommend it to anyone that wants to improve their social media results in weeks. My last post had over 1,000 views. Okay, and you can see I took this screenshot today. So he posted this 6 days ago. So my point is, these are your peers. These are people from our network. These aren't LinkedIn gurus. I'm not teaching anything so high level that you can't replicate it. These are very realistic results. So the next thing I want to show you is the difference between Facebook versus LinkedIn when I post the same post. All right. So this was a post that I did over the weekend. So I decided I wanted to go bike. I found this trail by my house. I've lived here for over 6 years, close to 6 years. And I never knew there was this amazing trail by my house, which is the one I went jogging on yesterday. But I thought I'd go, bike riding on it. So I rented a bike and I created this little video, a very short video with a free app. And I talked about, I did a little post. I'll show you the post later. Right now, we're not focused on the post. I did a little post. So this is on Facebook. This is on LinkedIn. So look at the results. On my Facebook, I got 22 engagements, 3 comments, and 134 views. Versus on LinkedIn, I got 60 engagements, 53 comments, and 2,100 views. Same exact post. Okay, so again, I'm showing you how Facebook is just really not friendly anymore for like, you know how you post things and nobody sees it, right? And mainly because they want you to pay. LinkedIn is, again, still in that organic reach phase. Let me show you another one. This post was talking about me attending my very first in-person luncheon in over a year. So this was, I posted this on February 19th. So just about a month ago. 23 on Facebook, 23 engagements, 5 comments, 203 views versus LinkedIn, 72 engagements, 22 comments, and over 2,500 views, right? So do you see the difference? It's so much. I'm doing the same exact thing, but I'm having so much more engagement over on LinkedIn. Okay, so the question, I mean, I'm sure some of you have lots of questions, but let me try to answer some of them that you might be wondering is, okay, Gelly, but why are engaging posts important? So it's like, great, you post and, people are engaging and, woohoo, like, what does this really mean? Okay, well, a good post, a good engaging post is like a warm introduction to yourself. Okay, it makes people want to talk to you. All of a sudden, you went from being a stranger to them having a comfortable conversation with you. So this right here, on this post, I was getting comments from people that I have no idea who they are. They were either my first connection that I didn't know who they were, or even second connection, meaning I'm not even connected to them. And we were having conversations. They said, "Oh, Gelly, where's this trail?" How they were very genuine, real conversations that they were getting introduced to me through maybe a mutual hobby. Okay, but guess what? Now this is going to turn into a professional connection as well. Okay, and I have visuals to show you how I do that as well. But again, I'm just trying to tie this in for you. So that's why it's important to have these engaging posts, because people have real, authentic conversations with you, and it's not starting out with, "Hi, I'm Gelly. Do you want to buy my stuff?" Right? Nobody wants to feel like they're being sold to. It's so much more interesting to connect over a similar hobby, like trail bike riding, or talk about something interesting other than work. Believe me, we are all very curious people. If we connect over riding, my bike on a trail, we both want to know what each one does for a living. Like, that's the next curiosity. Like, you're not missing out. People will know who you are and what you do. The conversation doesn't need to start that way. So that's why engaging posts are important. Again, it's like a warm introduction. Let me show you this. Okay, so these are some connection requests that I got based off of the story post that I do. Okay, so here's this one. This guy Bob, he says, "Hi Gelly," or "Hey Gelly, wanted to take a second to thank you for sharing that great post. Not sure how it showed up in my feed, but glad it did. I'm looking forward to seeing more from you." Okay, so now when I respond to Bob, do you see how now I've created a much warmer conversation with Bob, right? I didn't have to go fish for him. I didn't have to, "Oh, Bob, looks like we have mutual connections. Let's connect." I mean, what a very generic way to connect to somebody, right? This is much more interesting. He saw my post. He doesn't know how. I know how, because LinkedIn's algorithm is friendly, right? Somebody from my network liked it, that's connected to Bob. Bob saw it in his feed. He's like, "Whoa, this is interesting. Who's Gelly?" And he connected into me. Okay, here's another one from Nevin. "Gelly, great LinkedIn post. Thank you for the stance on value," right? So he's actually telling me which post of mine that he liked. "I specialize in identifying innovative leaders, organizations, and always looking to learn from and share with other thought leaders. In that regard, may I invite you to join my network?" So he's made it clear to me, again, I found you because of your post. Okay, so this is a great way to get discovered. Again, it's almost like your posts are warm introduction to yourself, if they're good posts. Okay, not every post is going to garnish you this reaction. The question is, how do we create these posts, which we'll get to. So I mentioned this about a minute ago, connecting with second connections that actually liked your post. All right, so let me take you back to this post right here. All right, and I want to show you this post. So let me minimize my presentation here for a moment. Let me find this post. Here we go. Here's the post. So let's read it. Yesterday, I attended my very first in-person luncheon in over a year. It was exhilarating, to say the least. From the moment that I started to get ready, I remembered how much I missed this feeling. First, I went over to the networking event section of my closet, and like a kid in a candy store, I carefully picked out my clothes, a task that I've done before thousands of times mindlessly. But this time it was different. It felt like I was getting ready for a special occasion. I had to actually dust off my pink heels. Like I literally did. I had to dust off my work shoes, but I haven't worn them in so long, you know? Walking into the building, I had a spring in my step and couldn't wait to get into the room. How was the event? Well, it was fabulous. It was very small, and we sat in small groups at round tables. All was safe as safe could be during these times. The conversations were meaningful, and you could tell that everyone was actually glad to be there. It was different, and it was good. This got me thinking, how can I replicate this experience? So until I come up with that answer for myself, I'll continue to host my virtual calls on Friday, you know, So when I originally posted the post, I want to tell you, I actually did not have the link in here, because you never want to put a link off of LinkedIn in your actual post, because the algorithm will ding you points. Why? Because LinkedIn doesn't want you leaving LinkedIn. So I initially had this in the very first comment underneath my post, but weeks later, I mean, because this post is still trending, I went back in, I edited it, and I added this in here, right? Because at this point, it's already trending, and if people stumble upon it, it's much easier for them to see it here. But initially, I didn't put it here. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I'm going to have that on the checklist that we're going to look at. But I do look forward to the day that I can greet all of you in person. And then my hashtag was networking. And then here was the little video that I did. Okay. So we're not necessarily, we don't need to watch the video, but okay. So I just wanted you to understand what this post was, because we're going to dissect this in a number of different ways. Okay. So I wanted everyone to be familiar. So the first way we're going to dissect it is connecting with second connections that liked your post. Okay, this is very important. So this post, again, it got a lot of engagements. And if I scroll down to, look, I click on who engaged with it. And if I scroll down to the very bottom, it's going to show me all my second connections. And actually, I may not have any live right now because I connected with all of them. Okay, we have one left, Simon. Okay, so see at the very bottom is where you find your second connections. Okay, so back to the presentation. I took a screenshot before I connected with all of them. So once I got them all, I said, great, now I'm going to go connect with them. Okay, so here's this girl, Yara. I took a screenshot. I'm giving you examples. So I sent them a connection request, and this was my connection note. Hi, Yara. Appreciate your like on my post from last week about me attending my first in-person networking event in about a year. It sure has been a while since I've been able to do that. Have you been to any in-person meetings yet? Would love to connect on LinkedIn. Okay, Yara responds to me. Hello, Gelly. It's great to see what we used to call norm is coming back around. However, the network groups I attend have still been taking place virtually. There's been a few in person with limited capacity, and I've yet to make it to one, you know, yada, yada, kind regards, Yara. So do you see how just such a more natural, easy connection, all from this one engaging post. And she was just one. I mean, I had, I connected with all these people, right? I mean, as you saw, I don't actually they're not my second connections anymore. They're not my first connections. And I engaged with a few of them. Another one was Nancy. So I had a few really good conversations with a few of these, and these are all my potential prospects, right? I mean, I'm building relationships with them. I'm having engaging conversations, all stem from a post. Okay, so this is another one that, well, okay, before I go to the next one, I want to make sure that we're all with me, okay? That you're all with me. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second. In the chat box, if this is making sense, go ahead and type yes. Like, I want to make sure I'm not losing anybody. Okay, great. I see lots of yeses. Okay, love it, love it. Because I know I'm going kind of fast, but I'm trying to, show examples and whatnot. So again, we will have time for questions. All right, so let me go back to sharing my screen. So we've got, okay, so this was Yara. So now let's look at this one. So another great way to engage or even re-engage your network with these posts is again by posting things that, people that you haven't talked to in a while, you're giving them a reason to talk to you and re-engage with you. So for instance, here's Jackie. Okay, so Jackie responded to a different post of mine. This post started out, just wrapped up teaching my How to Network on LinkedIn course, and here are my top 3 takeaways to share with you. Okay, so and then it was a pretty long post. I just took the little screenshot. So Jackie saw this and she posted, "Oh my, I missed this. I need this." I mean, do you think that's a hot prospect for me? Hello, right? So, I of course reply, "Hey, Jackie, and is Jackie on? I don't know if Jackie's on the call. Jackie's waving. Okay, she's actually on the call. I love that. So Jackie, this was such a good example. I hope you don't mind me sharing this, right? But the conversation between us was just so natural. I mean, nothing here was contrived, obviously. So I wrote Jackie a message, I'll be running the course again anyways, but I made sure to personally invite Jackie to this event today, right? I told her, I said, "Jackie, I'm going to be doing a webinar. I'm going to send it to you." Jackie even asked me if she could share it with her friends. Yes, Jackie, please invite your friends to the webinar. But you see, and this is me and Jackie re-engaging. I mean, Jackie, it's been a while since we last talked, right? I mean, Jackie doesn't come to the Friday virtual call. So this is a great way again to re-engage some of those people that maybe forgot what you do or aren't sure in what journey of your professional career you are now. Okay, so perfect example, and Jackie's on the call. I mean, this works, you guys, all right? Then another one that was very similar that posted on the same post, this one that I was talking about, my LinkedIn course, was Nancy. Okay, and Nancy, if you recall, I connected with Nancy right here. Okay, so she's the one that liked my post about going to an in-person virtual event. And then when I posted about the LinkedIn course, she said, I gave tips. I gave general LinkedIn tips. She said, "Great tips, thank you." And then her and I proceeded to have a conversation. Happy to share. I'm hosting a free training on LinkedIn this Wednesday at 12 p.m. if you're interested. She says she can't make it. I said, happy to send you the recording. She said, would love that. So here's why it's important to have conversations. There's this general marketing rule. It's called, it's not even a marketing rule, but it's more of an advertising rule. It's called rule of 7. When you meet somebody new or you engage with somebody new, it takes 7 interactions for you to become a part of their conscious mind. Okay. I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but you go to a networking event, you meet somebody, you completely forget, and then you go to an event again, you meet them again, and maybe halfway through the conversation, you're like, "Oh wait, I think we've met before," but you don't even remember, right? It just, because sometimes when you meet somebody just once, so you may remember them, but a lot of times you may not. So our mind tends to need to have 7 interactions. So by me having, see, look, Jackie engaged with my post. I sent her a connection request with a note. That's 2. She replied to me. That's 3. She engaged with this post. That's 4. And then look, her and I went back and forth. I mean, it's not difficult to obtain 7 interactions. Okay. Now, with Nancy. So there you go. I'm just showing you, I am literally showing you how I do things. This is how I built my network. This is why, for the last 13 years, I've been running. This is how I've been running and growing and managing the Networking Phoenix community. Okay. I'm all about networking. This is about networking, and it works. I love it when people tell me networking doesn't work. I'm like, okay, we need to have a side conversation, but it absolutely works. So essentially, we're taking a lot of these networking principles and we're just using them on LinkedIn. Okay, great. So what is the goal of a post, right? Again, that might be a question you have. So the goal of a post is to create this engagement, right? All this engagement I've been showing you needs to come from an engaging post. Okay, so here's what I want you to imagine. Okay. Imagine yourself at a dinner party. Your friends are there, colleagues, peers, maybe a few people that you admire for personal, professional reasons. What would you talk about? That's the question I want you to ask yourself. What would I talk about at this dinner party? How could you contribute to the conversation of this dinner party to make it memorable? And how can you add value? Okay. How many of you would show up to this dinner party, sit down at the table, and slap down a promotional flyer? I don't see any hands going up. Okay, so why do you do that on LinkedIn? You're like, this is what most people do. Okay, and I'm using myself as an example because it doesn't mean I don't do this. I do this too. Like, I'm human, but there's a mixed strategy here. But this is what most people do on LinkedIn. They're like, so keep networking, keep talking to people because your next role could be right around the corner. And then they just give an article the link to the article. Okay, so this is a bad example. Now, do I still share articles? Yes, but I share them in between the interesting posts. Okay, but a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people literally all they do is share articles like constantly. So it's like showing up to a dinner party and slapping down promotional flyers. And look at the engagement. It only got 7 likes and 333 views compared to my to the story posts, right? So you see the difference. So these are not as effective. It doesn't, you're still showing up for your network. You are sharing interesting information. So it's not horrible. But if all I was doing is this, I would give myself an F, maybe a D, because at least I'm showing up. So I do share articles, but in between all the different posts. Okay. So does that analogy make sense? The dinner party with the promotional flyer, you don't want to be that person. They're not going to invite you back. It's that simple. You're not going to be invited back to dinner because, instead of sharing something meaningful, all you did was try to promote something. So what you want to do, again, so now we're actually getting into, how do I actually write these story posts, Gelly, that you're talking about? Okay, so the story post, again, let's look at a few examples before I tell you, I give you the nuts and bolts. Okay, so we already looked at this one. So do you see how here I think I told an interesting story. I could have just said something like, went to an event yesterday. It was good times. I don't know. I could have said something like that, but instead I actually took I described to you my feelings, right? I took you into my closet. I took you into the networking event section. I told you how, I had to dust off my pink heels. I can't even tell you how many people commented on that and said, oh, they're like, yeah, I've had to do the same, right? Like, it's just what we're going through in the world right now. I'm relating to people. I'm making this post emotionally engaging. And all I'm doing is talking about a networking event. Okay, so now also I want you to notice that I'm not writing in paragraphs. Okay, this is not a research paper. I'm not in college. I understand that that's how we were all taught to write, like, if we went through high school writing and college writing. But when we do marketing copywriting, we do not write in paragraphs. Every sentence is its own paragraph. White space is your friend. Okay, keep that in mind. And most people are looking at this on their mobile phone. When you're looking on your mobile phone, like it's not easy to read paragraphs. And most people are scanning, even if they're on their desktop, they're still scanning. Nobody reads every word. And let me tell you, you cannot scan a paragraph. Okay, so that's why you want to space it out like this. If you can, you want to also give it kind of a wave look, like, shorter, longer, shorter, longer. Again, this makes it easier to read, to scan. I've got a hashtag in here. I attached a video. Sometimes I attach a photo. Okay, so let's look at some other ones. I want to show you, okay, let's look at Wayne's. So again, Wayne followed my formula. Same formula I'm going to give all of you if you stick till the very end. And it starts out, it's very important how it starts out. This is what we call the hook. Okay, this is the first thing we're going to talk about when we get back to the presentation. After my discharge from the Marine Corps and returning from Vietnam, I started my first job in sales with a Fortune 100 company. That's a hook. If you're scrolling in your newsfeed and that doesn't grab you, then Wayne's already lost you. Simple. If that grabs you, then you're going to keep reading. He says, I had been there for 1 year when the company hired a new customer training representative. Dottie had previously been a model and a training instructor, so all of the men were anxiously trying to meet her. One day, when I was leaving the office, she was walking out behind me with another girl. Her friend told me that Dottie needed a ride since she lost her keys and was having car problems. I offered to drive her home to pick up her second set of keys. On the way back, I asked her if she was hungry. Fortunately, she said yes. So I took her to a very romantic Italian restaurant, and the rest is history. We have now been married for over 40 years and have 2 adult children who moved to Phoenix with us in '99. Since then, we have added 4 grandchildren to our family. I always say that Dottie chased me down the street, but I was the one who could not wait to ask her out. She has been my best friend and soulmate since that first date. How did you meet your spouse, or have you ever been at the right place at the right time and that made all the difference? Okay, so tell me this is not a heartwarming story, right? Like, even if you're in the middle of a bad day and you come across this, I mean, this is just, it's a cute story. But now you're sitting there with Gelly, what does this have anything to do with Wayne, with what he does for a living? Great question, right? Because Wayne maybe initially asked me the same thing. And I said, look, Wayne, or whoever I'm talking to, not every single post needs to be about your business. Okay, we all have life experiences and life stories to share that are meaningful and add value and show your personality. And that is very important when you are a small business owner or solopreneur, or even if you're in business development. People want to know who they're doing business with. Especially in today's market, there's this huge trend in relationship marketing. People want to know who they're doing business with. It's that simple. So it is absolutely okay to share life stories, every so often. Now, Wayne's life story was about how he met his wife, which is a really cute story, right? So it's easy to share, right? And he posted a picture here. Now, one of mine, again, I already showed you this bike post. I mean, this is also, there's nothing super deep about this one. It was really more of an adventure. But again, I'm giving people a reason to engage and talk to me about something other than networking. But guess what? I'm still networking with them because I'm still having these conversations and we're getting to know each other. And how easy is it for me to invite somebody to one of my either virtual networking calls on Fridays or to this webinar if I've met them on LinkedIn. I mean, after all, LinkedIn is a professional resource. This isn't a dating site, right? You know what I mean? Like people are here for professional reasons. So hopefully that answers that question for you. All right. So we're going to keep moving. So as we pick up our presentation, again, the first thing I want to look at is that you need to start out with an engaging hook. Okay. The most important thing you need to do is write engaging hook. And in LinkedIn, your hook is the first 2 sentences. Okay, so if you look at the image right here, this is somebody that I follow. Look at his hook. 3 reasons you should stop freaking out every time Google updates its algorithm. That's his hook. So if you are, concerned about SEO or Google's algorithm, you're going to click on see more right here. Okay, so that's how LinkedIn shows their post. They don't, if you scroll through LinkedIn, you don't see this entire post, right? So like if I go to my feed right now, let's do this live because I always like to show good examples. Sorry, it's taking a moment because I'm recording the call. So computers always tends to be a little slower. So if I'm just scrolling. Okay, come on, LinkedIn, give us a good one. Here, right here. So here's Noah. So he's got about 200 characters right here. So 200 characters, and that's where LinkedIn cuts you off, and then it says see more. So if I click on see more, then I'll see the rest of the post, right? And the rest of his post happens to be hashtags, but it could have been much longer. But again, I don't see that right? LinkedIn only shows me the first 200. Here's another one. One of the cutest and most beautiful pictures I've ever come across, 200 characters, see more. I see more, and then it tells me whatever, whatever it gets to. So, right. So same with Damon, right? So those two sentences are very important, 200 characters. So these two sentences are your grabber, your attention capture mechanism, your headline. If you don't get this right, your people aren't going to stop to read your post. Okay. So you want to spend 80% of your time on these first two sentences to hook your audience's attention to read the copy. That's how important this, to think of this as like a subject line in an email. If you send out a boring subject line, your email isn't going to get open, right? So that's what the hook is. Okay. Number two, you want to tell a story. Okay, the story posts. I already showed you a few examples. 1,300 characters or less. That's how much. That's what you essentially have to tell your stories. 1,300 characters. Why do we tell stories? Because stories they're one of the main like ingredients in causing sticky messages. So people remember stories. People don't remember promotional flyers. Do you remember the promotional flyer you saw 3 years ago? No. But if somebody told you a compelling story that you somehow emotionally connected to, you'll remember that for a very long time. Okay, so stories they're very compelling. We apply the same concept to LinkedIn. So after capturing the attention of your audience, you must now tell an engaging story. Okay, and these links actually lead to examples, which I already showed you. I'm trying to see, maybe we haven't looked at Dawn's yet. That's Catherine's. Where's Dawn? Here's Dawn's story. Right here. Okay. So look, so here's Dawn's hook. The day my mom almost died started like any other day. She had just put a meatloaf in the oven, then her heart stopped. And this is a pivotal moment in Dawn's life. So she's sharing it, and I'll tell you, Dawn is not someone that's actually very comfortable sharing personal stuff. And so I've kind of had to work with her on this, but when I click on see more and we read through her story, you'll see that this is actually a pivotal moment for her career, for what she's doing now. So it ties in with her networking on LinkedIn. So I'm going to click on see more. My dad was in the basement and heard a crash. He called up once, twice, no reply. Again, notice how she's doing the wave. Okay. He was there in less than a minute, then 911, CPR, and EMTs. His wife of 48 years had just experienced ventricular fibrillation. From ER to ICU to cryotherapy, which is like a crazy 3-day ice bucket challenge, and a week-long medically induced coma. Now, you might look at this and you might say, okay, but again, grammar, Gelly, this isn't maybe how I would grammatically write a research paper. This is not a research paper. When we copyright, sometimes things aren't as grammatically correct, and that's okay. No one's judging you on, well, I shouldn't say no one, somebody might. But keep it as close to proper grammar as possible. Sometimes we have to cut things out to fit it into 1,300 characters. So sometimes you'll see people don't use commas and periods. Okay. And a week-long medically induced coma. The doctors and nurses advise us on the reality that she might not wake up. They also advised us on what to expect if she did. Day 8, she woke up. Neurologically, she was absolutely fine. Day 11, my mom was released with an implanted defibrillator. It was nothing less than a miracle upon miracle. It was the right people with the right skills in the right place at the right time. I left my consulting job to spend more time with my family. Shortly after, founded my own company dedicated to supporting physicians while they provide exceptional patient care. My mom was one of the main reasons I do what I do, why I use my skills in a way that more directly impacts patient healthcare outcomes. What drives your passion and desire to do what you do, right? And then she's got hashtags, and then she's got an image. Okay, so back to our presentation to dissect this. Again, story posts. Do you see how these story posts are very different than sharing a promotion, like a link to an article, or talking about your free webinar? Hey, everyone, sign up for my free webinar. Yay, who cares? No one. That's like people, Gelly, people aren't signing up for my webinar. Well, because you're just promoting it, you're spamming them. That's what you're doing. You're spam. You may not realize it, but you may think your webinar has a lot of value, and it actually might. But when you present it to somebody in a very spammy way, they're not going to pay attention. I'll give you I'm going to stop sharing for a second and share a real life story with you. So I, the McCormick Ranch area, there's that little pond over there, that little lake or whatever. And I go there every Tuesday. I drop my daughter off. She has a thing and I kind of hang out there and wait for her. So I was sitting there a few weeks ago on the grass area, and they happened to be shooting a commercial for REI, right? The store REI. So they had a jogger going back and forth. And but it's a beautiful area. And so a lot of people ride their bike, people jog. I mean, there's a lot happening. And so when they were shooting, they had security guards stopping people and saying, can you please stop, while we do the shoot, and then you can go. And I mean, I was people watching this for an hour. It was beyond fascinating. Okay. There's so many stories to share, but I'm going to tell you one. Guy comes on his bike. Security guard says, excuse me, sir, can you please stop? We've got a commercial happening. Guy says to him, thank you, I'm not interested, and keeps riding his bike. The second security guard steps out on the road and says, sir, you need to stop. And we're filming a commercial. And the guy says, oh, that's what you're doing. He's like, my bad. I'm sorry. I thought you were trying to sell me something. Right. I mean, they're security guards. They're dressed in like security guards. They're not even, there's no fire, nothing. But we are so programmed to being sold that even when you have a free webinar that offers value and will help these people, they're afraid they don't want to be sold. So that's why when you post these things on LinkedIn, you're not getting any traction because you're coming at it from a salesy perspective and you may not be realizing it. Stories sell. Stories get people engaged. Stories create conversations. Stories will get you the results. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, add a call to action. Okay, now that you've posted this great story, ask them a question, get them to engage. Okay, LinkedIn favors posts that have engagement, likes, and comments. So the more people engage with, give you the likes or whatever and leave you a comment, LinkedIn's algorithm says, oh, people are liking this, and they show it to more people, right? That's how you get all that big traction. So how do you get engagement? You ask, right? Close off your post with a call to action. Directly ask your audience to do what you want them to do, like post, comment, share, get them to answer a question. Okay, so over here, I'm just going to show you on this post where, again, I gave LinkedIn tips. My call to action was, I said, I'll be hosting a free webinar soon on this topic. If you'd like an invite, please comment below. Okay, I know Steve, I believe you were one of the ones to comment as well. Steve Olson, right? Okay, if my memories, and Steve is on the call. Steve said, I would be interested. I sent him an invite. He's on the call, right? But I didn't say message me. I said comment here. And the reason I said comment is because every time they comment, LinkedIn's algorithm, Gordon just reminded me I'm not sharing my screen. Thank you, Gordon. LinkedIn's algorithm puts it out into the feed. Okay, so right here, sorry, you obviously didn't see my screen here. I forgot I wasn't sharing, but number 3, call to action. Everything I said is right here. And then again, I'll be hosting a free webinar on this topic. If you'd like an invite, please comment below. And all of you saw Wayne's ask. His ask was, how did you meet your spouse? Or have you ever been at the right place at the right time? And that made all the difference, right? So what can you ask people to get them to engage? Okay, number 4, niche specific hashtags. All right, again, you've seen hashtags in most of the posts I've shown you. So hashtags, there's a whole section on hashtags, quite a few wonderful things we could do with hashtags on LinkedIn. The thing that's relevant for your post is to add niche specific hashtags so people can find you. LinkedIn is not Instagram, so do not use more than 5 hashtags in your post. On Instagram, you can use like 30, but this is not Instagram, this is LinkedIn, so no more than 5. You can use trending hashtags, niche hashtags for your industry, or create your own, right? So here's an example for this post that I was talking about. Here I was actually inviting people to my LinkedIn webinar. Now, so let's actually look at this. Let's look how I invited people to my LinkedIn webinar. I want you to imagine that LinkedIn is just one big networking event. And just like at a networking event, your goal is to have meaningful conversations that turn into professional relationships. Meaningful conversations don't begin with sending someone a connection request just so you can sell them on something. Blech. That's how I feel about that, in case anyone's wondering. Instead, I encourage people to write engaging posts that are interesting and will get people to want to talk to you. That's a much better way to nurture your connections and generate new leads. You will start attracting potential clients immediately. If you're interested in learning more about the super effective LinkedIn strategy, join my free training session. Okay. And then I say the registration link is in the first comment below. Okay. Notice again, I didn't put the link in here. And then I give them hashtags, LinkedIn training, networking. So when you're on LinkedIn, if you click in any one of these hashtags, it'll show you everyone that's having a conversation using those hashtags. So this is a great way to be discovered by people that, maybe want to talk about similar topics. I will tell you, this post did not do nearly as well as the post where I said, just finished teaching my course, and here are the top things I discovered. That post did much better. That was a story post. I kind of tried to turn this into a story as well. But again, I think as soon as people see that, maybe they're trying to be sold, they're not interested. So it's good for me to see my own experimenting. Okay. So I got some traction out of this one, but not nearly as good as the other one. Okay. So that's hashtag. So again, let's kind of look at, now that I showed you these 4, again, you can see Dawn's, right? American Heart Month, Patients First, Practice Health, Our Hearts, Heart Month. So, and I tell people, play with hashtags, see which ones maybe work out better for you, which ones resonate with you. Networking for me is the most general one, right? Like even on my bike post, I put networking because I essentially look at each post as a networking event. It's almost like I'm creating my own networking event, because once I get engagement going, I'm just engaging and having conversations with people. And what do you do at a networking event? You're meeting people and having conversations, right? So it's a very similar concept. Okay, so those are hashtags. So a few things. We're nearing the end here. So one of the most frequently asked questions is when is the best time to post on LinkedIn? This is from a very recent study. Best times would be Wednesdays from 8 to 10 a.m. and noon, Thursday 9 a.m., 1 to 2 p.m., and Friday 9 a.m. Best day Wednesday and Thursday, worst day Sunday. If you can only post one day a week, I say post on Wednesday. Right? So maybe you can only do one story post a week because writing those story posts maybe takes too much time for you. Great, do it maybe at least once a week, and then the rest of the week you can post, share links or something else. I mean, there are plenty of different things to post on LinkedIn other than story posts, but the story posts are the ones that get you that networking. Okay. And when people actually comment on your post, respond to them. Don't leave people hanging. It's very easy to miss those notifications on LinkedIn because, people just aren't hanging out on LinkedIn all day long. So what you're going to want to do, see where it says notifications. Every day when you log into LinkedIn, just quickly look through your notifications and see what you might have missed, right? So see Gretchen, so she just commented on my post 5 minutes ago. So I have no idea what she posted. Let's go and take a look. I love real life examples. Okay, so this is a post that I shared. All right, this is part of my mixed strategy posting on LinkedIn. So I followed this guy Strati, and he always does these motivational things. All I said was truth. That's it. All I said was truth, nothing else, nothing fancy. The image says, never be a prisoner of your past. It was just a lesson, not a life sentence. Okay. Look at this crazy engagement, 69 likes, engagements, 6 comments, 1,700 views. Right now, this post maybe didn't get me as much talking engagement per se, but it puts me in front of my network. Right? I'm in front of them. People forget about you if you're not in front of them. You want to be in front of your prospects? Get in front of them. This is a great way. I just got in front of, 69 people reacted and 1,700 actually, 69 reacted, 1,700 people saw my face, my name pop up in their newsfeed. Okay, so let's see what Gretchen said. Gretchen said, this is on point and always a welcome reminder, trauma recovery. Okay, so I'll go back and engage with Gretchen later. But again, great conversation starter, and you know how long it took me to share this post? Probably less than 10 seconds. That's it. Like people say, oh, Gelly, I don't have time for LinkedIn. Okay, this took me 10 seconds. Don't tell me you don't have time. Believe me, once you're making money off of this, you have plenty of time. You'll make the time, right? So, okay, so that's that. So let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so respond to engagement. That's key. Okay, so to recap, actually, no, before we recap, I want to show you the actual, okay, so here's the LinkedIn optimal post checklist. All right, this is what I'll be sharing with all of you here in a few minutes. So number one, create a compelling hook. Okay, I explained this to all of you. That's your first 2 sentences. Number 2, you want to get them to click, see more, right? That's the whole point of this compelling hook. Add value or tell an emotionally engaging story, right? Now you can add value again by sharing something relevant from your industry. That's adding value. But again, maybe create it more in a story way, or how can you turn it into an emotionally engaging story? Maybe you can't. Maybe it's just black and white facts, but it's so relevant that it'll still be like a hot topic. Great. Point is just to add value. Space it out for mobile viewability. No paragraph chunks. You'll get an F from Gelly if Gelly sees that with my red pen. Very line linked to make a wavelength, right? We talked about that. Link in the first comment, not in the body of the post. Okay. Engagement, call to action. We covered this. Comment, share, tag a connection. There's different things, different call to actions you can give people. You can tag people, your connections or influencers where relevant. You don't just want to randomly start tagging people. That's obnoxious. I'll give you a great example. Some girl tagged me in a post, I don't know, maybe about 6 months ago or something. And it was a post about not shaming people that choose not to vote. I have no idea who this girl is. Like, I have no idea why she tagged me. And plus she had no idea what my opinion on it was. What if my opinion was like completely against her and I went and like wrote something, mean on her post? Now, obviously I wouldn't do that. I'm Gelly, but why did she even tag me? It was just so obnoxious and strange, awkward interaction. So don't just randomly tag people. But if you think that, it's relevant and that person will come and engage with you, then yes, you can tag them and you should. Post consistency, again, like I said, you want to post at least one. They say you should post at least once a day. I mean, it depends who you ask, but I've heard all the way from at least once a day to even every other day. I've even heard twice a day. I think that's a lot. Like, I wouldn't post twice a day. I would do maybe, again, my story posts, I do 1 to 2 a week. And then I mix it up with maybe some link sharing or resharing other people posts. So, sometimes it's every day, sometimes it's every other day. But the point is I show up. I'm clearly on LinkedIn engaging with my network. LinkedIn isn't something I show up to once every 6 months and expect to get clients from it. Like that's not going to work, right? You've got to put the work in. So post consistently, time your posts, right? We talk about the time, Wednesdays are the best day to post essentially. Make it native, meaning create content within LinkedIn. So again, the story posts, so let's say you take, these post ideas and you said, but Gelly, I want to write a blog about that on my website. Okay. So you write a blog about that on your website, and then you go to LinkedIn and you say, everyone check out my latest post on my blog, and you give it a link. That's not going to get as much. That's not native, right? That's you sending somebody off of LinkedIn. So native means write it within LinkedIn. That's how you're going to get the traction. Okay. You want to end with an ask. We talked about that. Add niche specific hashtags and attach a compelling image, photo, or video, whatever makes sense. Now, you don't have to. If you don't have an image, it's not the end of the world. There's actually, I've heard mixed reviews whether the LinkedIn algorithm favors posts with photos or without photos. I personally like to use photos. I feel like when I post a photo, my posts get more engagement. Okay. The only thing we haven't talked about is engagement pods, and I'll give you like a 10-second understanding of what that is. When you post something on LinkedIn, the first hour is crucial for LinkedIn's algorithm. They want to know that this is relevant information. So when you post on LinkedIn, try to get people to engage with it. Your friends, your colleagues, like sometimes I'll post on LinkedIn and then I'll go to Facebook and I'll be like, hey, everyone on Facebook, check out my post on LinkedIn. Right? Because I'm just trying to drive traffic, so maybe if you have Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook. So what engagement pods are, they're actually groups of people that they come together to comment on each other's posts. Right? So all of you that go through my LinkedIn course, we're all in a pod. So we support each other. So now, like when, I post or when, Wayne posted, we go into our little LinkedIn group and we say, hey, everyone, I just posted a post on LinkedIn. If you could go engage, that would be wonderful. Right. And sometimes people can, sometimes people can't, but we're helping each other. We're supporting each other with that engagement, the algorithm. Okay. So that's what an engagement pod is. That's like we could run a whole course just on that. We're not going to. So like I said, I'm just giving you a quick summarization. All right. So here you go. So this is your LinkedIn optimal post checklist. So to recap again, the goal is to create an engaging post. The more people that interact with it, the more chances you have of showing up in people's news feeds, which is what you want. This creates conversations, new leads, and builds your authority. That's in caps because I'm screaming it at you. It's important. Remember, you're at a dinner party and you want to meaningfully contribute value to everyone there. You don't want to sit at that table and throw down a flyer. Weird, awkward, you're not going to get invited back. Nobody cares. Okay. Sometimes these posts will be within your skill knowledge. Sometimes it's a personal story of triumph, enlightenment, life lesson, whatever. Okay. Like we're all multi-dimensional people. We don't, our career is not like this is it. Just one thing. Like, no. We have, we're mothers, we're fathers, we're grandfathers, we run marathons. We all do many different things in life, and you're welcome to speak about all of that in a compelling way that adds value to people. I'm not saying turn LinkedIn into therapy. Okay. Just to clarify the two. Okay. All right. So important topics not covered today, because I just can't cover everything in 1 hour. We did not talk about how to optimize your LinkedIn profile before you start engaging with people. This is super important. If your LinkedIn profile is not optimized, people will land on it and they will bounce right off. Okay. A lot of times they look at it like, I have no idea what this person does, what they do. There's not enough information. It's wrong information. Like if you're the CEO of your own company, who cares? You can say that, but it doesn't tell me who you are and what you do. Right. I need to know right here. Here, I'm going to try to go to my profile here really quickly. Right here. Virtual networking every Friday at 12 p.m. Arizona. Be my guest. Registration link below. This is a lot more relevant for everybody than the fact that I'm the CEO. So I listed, but it's secondary, right? And I could even not list it because this is what gets me people. Not saying Networking Phoenix CEO, which means nothing to somebody that doesn't know me. Right. So that's what I mean by we have to, that's just one thing. Believe me, there's a lot more in optimizing your profile. How to create a headline that tells your prospects how you solve their problem, and how to craft a genuine note to get a response and conversation, a connection note, right? Because you still have to connect to people. So we didn't cover any of these things, which are very important. Here's Jesus is on the call as well, and he took my LinkedIn course. But this is just a before and after of his profile. This is something we did together. This is his company's logo. But the thing is, if you don't know his company, again, the logo doesn't mean much of anything, right? So I said, Jesus, if you're talking about retirement, then let's put an image up there that talks to retirement. And let's just put right on the image, debt-free retirement is easier than you think. Right. This tells people a lot more about what he does than this, because I don't know what Premier Financial Group is. Do you? Right. But we all understand debt-free retirement. So again, I'm just showing you quick differences because I want to make sure we have time for questions. This is a great one. I met this guy, joined my virtual call on Friday. Look at his note. Hi, Gelly. My wife and I are relocating to Phoenix to follow our son as he heads to Arizona State to play baseball. I've been networking with folks prior to the move and have been introduced to your Friday event. Just signed up for tomorrow. So when he was on the call, I said, Shane, how did you find us? Because I actually didn't see this note, until I met him on the call. And he said, I landed on your LinkedIn profile and I saw that you host virtual networking calls every Friday. You said you have the registration link. So I went over here. Here's the registration link and I registered. Boom. This is what I mean by optimized profile. Okay. Like easy. Like, again, I set it up once and people find me. So live example, 5 days ago, he wrote me this note. We've already met. All right. So what we're going to do now is I am going to, again, just very quickly switch gears because I know we're going to leave room for questions, but I'm going to tell you about my LinkedIn course that I've mentioned now a few times. So I run it live. Okay. This might be interest to you if you want to leverage LinkedIn to generate leads and clients. Okay. So if that's actually something you want to start doing, let me teach you how. Like, let's create a strategy. You want to have an efficient LinkedIn networking strategy. You want to capitalize on LinkedIn's current algorithm. This is time sensitive. We don't know how much algorithms are constantly changing. We don't know when they're going to change it. They probably will at some point because all the social media companies do. The time is now. You're either a solopreneur, small business owner, or in business development. And again, you need to get prospects off of LinkedIn, right? So this is who I cater to. So here's the course. And actually, let me just, I'm going to switch to my actual website here. So LinkedIn course, how to attract quality clients in 2021, right? It's a 6-week intensive course designed specifically for solopreneurs, small business owners, and sales professionals. Now, I'm going to go through this, but the way I break out each week, you're still going to get some education from it. So don't tune out. Okay. Don't tune out just yet. There's quite a few things here, and we'll come back to the testimonials. But let's look at the 6 weeks at a glance. So number one, we started the first week with optimizing your LinkedIn profile. Okay. Gone are the days of your LinkedIn being a resume to the world. It needs to be a mini landing page of your website. I need to land on your LinkedIn and very quickly understand who you are, how you solve my problem. That's what I need to understand. Okay. So we're going to, we cover headshots, headline, LinkedIn headline, how to create a professional header image, the formula for your about section. There is a formula. There's almost a formula for all of this. Week 2, building your authority via your posts, right? So it's a lot of the storytelling that we covered in today's class, but I also talk about how to build your authority with it. So there's a little bit more, meat. There's more meat to it of what we cover. So, and again, I show some of the same examples here. Week 3 and 4, we talk about we spend 2 weeks on this because this is crucial. How do we actually find the right people on LinkedIn, right? So yes, we can do posts and we can start engaging with them, but what if you want to be proactive and actually go and prospect on LinkedIn? So we saw at the beginning, there's like millions, how many millions of people are on LinkedIn? Let me show you the number again. Where is it? Right here. 766 million people, professionals, right? So how do we find them? So I go over, basic searches, a hashtag search, Boolean search, ideal for solopreneurs. If you're a solopreneur, small business owner, this right here, it's going to be phenomenal for you. And keywords, right? So, and these are all free searches, by the way. Okay. So everything I show is free tools within LinkedIn. Week 4, again, we spend 2 weeks on it. Week 5, we talk about connection requests, follow-up notes, and an engagement sequence, right? I mean, you can't just connect to somebody generic. I mean, you could, but you don't want to. You want to stand out, right? You actually want to have good connection notes. Like you saw where I engaged with these people that, like my posts. You want to have a good note. You want to have a good follow-up sequence. Again, you want to create an interesting experience, conversation. The question is, you've got to have a goal in mind. What do you want your prospects to do? And don't say buy from me, because that's not the next step. Okay. You've got to build a relationship. The sales cycle is very different nowadays. The sales cycle is a little bit longer. I'm sure all of you are experiencing it. People want more of a personal touch. You've got to give it to them. Show them you're credible. Show them you're an authority. Okay, so you may want your prospects to do one of these things. Get a free resource, consultation, webinar, networking discovery call, whatever it is, but there's a right and a wrong way to do this. You have to decide on your goal before you even start the lead generation process, all right? And then week 6, which is the final week, funnel prospects to your sales funnel outside of LinkedIn. You do not sell on LinkedIn. I'm going to repeat this. Do not sell on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is meant for networking, relationships, conversations, finding prospects, and you've got to get them off of LinkedIn to actually do the sale. Okay, so this is what we talk about here in week 6. How do we do that? And here's the thing: there's no one size fits all networking strategy for anybody. I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of this depends on your personality. It depends on your personality. It depends on your avatar. It depends on how you choose to use LinkedIn. So a lot of these classes that you can maybe buy online, it's very different. Like I teach them live. So we have conversations, we engage, I answer questions. There's value to that, right? Because there's just not one size fits all strategy. Here's some feedback from some of the participants from the first class. I love what Bonnie said. Bonnie actually took several other LinkedIn classes before she took mine. And she said, Gelly's by far the best teacher in LinkedIn that I've ever taken a course with. I've been taking LinkedIn webinars and classes, and finally a course where I understand everything, right? Because there's so much, and a lot of times they speak at such a high level that it gets challenging, to understand. Here was Catherine. We looked at her post. I was surprised at the number of responses I got on a post after following Gelly's direction. They got over 3,500 views. The course was simple, straightforward, and provided easy tasks to follow in order to gain engagement. And Wayne, I've been on LinkedIn for years and have over 3,000 contacts since I took Gelly's course and we redid my profile. We optimized his profile. My number of profile views has increased by 30%. Okay, so for those of you that are number people, Wayne is giving us some good numbers here. And this was before his post. This was just when we optimized his profile. Okay, so these are all pretty important things. So I know the next question all of you are thinking, Gelly, how much does this cost? It's $1 million, guys. Come on, I know my value. Just kidding. But okay, so here it is. So you've got 3 ways to participate. $297 includes the course, but no one-on-one time with me. $597 includes the course and one-on-one time with me. $997 includes the course, one-on-one time with me, and you get promotional opportunities through my network. Maybe you want to sponsor some events, maybe you want me to send out an email, right? And this is something that we can discuss and cater. But again, at its lowest, I say, $297 is, again, that's a pretty easy one. $597 is the most popular because you will have questions. You will want me to look at your profile. You want me to edit it. Like it just naturally happens. Okay. And then as a bonus, we actually get to spend more time together than just this is 6 weeks. Because as a bonus, all of you get invited to participate in my next level networking private mastermind group, no cost for a full month. And that we meet on Tuesdays. And that in there, what we do is we take the information that you've learned and we actually put it to use. So in the mastermind, we go over your profile, you're getting feedback from the other people. I mean, it's a lot more hands-on. Okay, so as a bonus, you get this as well on any of the levels that you sign up with. So that's that. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to stop sharing and I'm going to give you the link to, I'm going to give you a few links. Okay, so number 1, here's the link to register for the course. And if you registered today, oh, I forgot to tell you this. I forgot to tell you one of the best parts. Let me share my screen one more time, just one more time for the last time. If you sign up today, this is my offer for today only, because I can't offer this to everyone. You get a free 25-minute marketing assessment with me. Whether it's, again, your LinkedIn or your just overall marketing assessment, right? Because again, remember, I do all marketing. So I do, I can look at your copywriting, I can look at your website, I can look at your social media. I do all of that. So you get a free 25-minute marketing assessment if you sign up today. All right. So that's that's that. So now I also gave you the LinkedIn course link. I am now going to give all of you, as promised, the LinkedIn optimal post checklist. That's the next link that's going into the chat. All right. And now it's all you guys. Tell me what questions, thoughts, concerns, what trauma have I created? I will solve all of it. Just go ahead and unmute your, I can't see, Brittany, I think you're raising your hand. It's hard for me to see. You can just unmute yourself and ask the question.
Awesome. Okay. Well, today wasn't the best day to be on video. I'm getting ready. So I thought, well, I'm going to keep my picture. One of those crazy hair days. Anyways, quick question. And it kind of goes to kind of both, but I had been working with some of the groups like in Facebook, just talk a little bit about that for a second. And I'm utilizing all of that, but I'm getting massive amounts of comments. And I mean, literally, we talked about this. I put a post out and I had like 317 comments and then 100 in another group and 100 in another group. How is it, regardless of whatever platform, how do you respond? And like I'm still getting notifications and I'm trying to like go back and answer 10, 15, 20 questions as quickly as I can without being, and I always try to say in there a little bit like, hey, I'm sorry for the late delay. I didn't, like we talked about it. I'm sorry for the late delay. I didn't, know that I was going to be getting so much response from this, but now I'm getting ready to do some other advertising and I'm thinking, oh boy, how do you manage all of the comments? And that's the biggest one.
Okay, so I think the question, just to summarize it, is how do I manage all the comments and the engagement
Yes.
coming back in? Well, you've got to make time for it. I mean, so for me, this is part of my morning routine. When I get in front of my computer, I go and check all my notifications and I check LinkedIn, I check Facebook, I check Instagram, and I respond in priority. So LinkedIn is always first because that's just, for me, that's priority. That's where I'm actually having conversations that make me money, right? And for you, that might be in Facebook because that's where you're engaging. So at some point, you may want to consider having a VA help you. Do I have a VA that helps me? Yes. On LinkedIn, I do. I have a virtual assistant that helps me. Actually, I have two that help me manage my LinkedIn because it's so massive. But I will tell you that I try to respond to everybody personally that needs a personal response. My VAs mainly help me with just the logistics of things type, right? But if people like if these are people that could potentially be your clients, you want to engage with them personally. So I would say you've got to make time for it.
Kelly,
Yes, Gordon.
I have two quick questions and I think they're relevant. First off, how about number one, is there a number of times that you can post per day that causes problems? Like if I post my own and then I go and share yours, that counts as a post for me. Is there a point where that you can say don't post more than X number of times per day?
Yeah, that is a great question, Gordon. So I've heard you can post up to twice a day and it's not going to hurt you. The main thing that you want to do is space it out at least 2 to 3 hours. You don't want your posts being on top of each other. So sometimes I'll post in the morning and then I'll post in the afternoon, but I try not to do them too close to each other.
But shares count as posts,
Correct? Yes.
How about likes?
No, likes do not count as posts. You can engage
Okay.
as many likes as you want.
Okay, last question. How about posting testimonials on LinkedIn?
Do you mean like a post? Like actually making that as a post?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I would do that, but I would maybe give a little description of it, right? I would maybe like, how can I make this testimonial compelling? Right. So maybe give a little story of how you engaged with this client and then give their testimonial. So make it interesting. I mean, go ahead, Gordon.
No, I was just going to thank you very much. That was great. I understand.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a quick question, Gelly.
Yes.
How do you know that LinkedIn dings you for putting in links? And how do you know what their algorithms are? Like, how do you know that? How do you know what they're going to do? Do they post it? Do they let us
Oh
know?
no, this is a secret. Like they don't, and they don't want you to know. So I know this because I study it, and I belong to other, groups where we're peers and we share results with each other and we test and it's a whole world. So no, they do not make this public.
And
they're
I'm
constantly
sure that you probably know from being on here such a long time that you can see certain things happening when you post like things, and one times it's great and the next time it's horrible. And I mean, that's really important. I'm just curious how you would know that, because I that's like really super important for everybody here and everybody that's doing anything on LinkedIn or anything else, whether that's Google posting videos or Facebook or anything else. I just really important.
to really just to understand, really
I
important.
just don't want to be posting something I shouldn't. Like, remember the other day I asked you, in Melvin's world, we just get things done. If you want something done, you call me, vice versa, we get it done. It's easy. But it doesn't work that way here. I can't post, you told me don't post my phone number, don't post certain other things. Absolutely not. So I'm like, I don't want to be posting something I shouldn't if the algorithm's gonna kick me out or suppress me or so on and so forth.
Correct, that's true. That's what I cover a lot of that in the course.
Okay.
But what you said is exactly true. You don't want to accidentally be spamming people.
Right,
You don't want, there's certain things that are just not LinkedIn etiquette,
right.
right?
Exactly.
And maybe LinkedIn isn't going to ding you for you, but it's just not the right etiquette type of a thing, right? So so what we learn again in the course, or even if you don't take the course, but you want to go research this, there is the LinkedIn algorithm, and then there's LinkedIn etiquette, right? Like you wouldn't show, like I said, at the dinner party, you wouldn't show up and throw down a flyer. That's not proper etiquette. So on LinkedIn, there's appropriate times to send your phone number, and there's times where it's not appropriate, right?
Okay.
So, and that has nothing to do with the algorithm. That's more etiquette.
I have other questions, but I'll ask you in separately or in the course.
Okay, no problem. You got it. All right, Jackie, I see you raising your hand.
Yeah, hi. So I just have a question about the times to post, and I've been doing stuff and everybody says pretty much every day I should be posting. So based on what you're sharing with the days and times, the optimal days and times, right? And I'm just trying to find my notes. Should I be only posting on those days, and are those mountain time or whatever time zone we're in Arizona versus East Coast time? I mean, because I can work across, pretty much the entire globe. And
Yeah.
I can work internationally. So how does that put into play?
That is a great question. So you want to post when your ideal prospect is online.
How do I find that out?
I mean, you got to know who they are. I mean, it's research, right? This is what I'm saying. There's no one fit all networking or LinkedIn strategy. You've got to research it, figure out. Like, I don't know who your avatar is, right? I mean, but once we know who, and when I say avatar, I don't mean Blue People movie. I mean your ideal client,
right?
But once we figure out who your avatar is, which I'm sure I just don't. We look at how they function. It's a research process. And then that'll give you more insight in, are they on LinkedIn during the day? Are they on at night? Hardly anyone's on LinkedIn at night, except maybe admins. But that's kind of what we have to look at. Maybe you can message them at night, which is okay because they wake up to the message, but maybe you post during another time. And I think you had a two-part question. I know that was one of them. What was the other one you asked me? Go ahead.
Yeah, should we be posting every day, but just ideally doing the stories like Wednesday or Thursday, doing the longer posts and then shares the other day? Because like I've been working primarily on Facebook and doing stuff on Facebook, and it's amazing to me. Is like stupid stuff gets a lot of stuff, but then when I put serious stuff, it like goes nowhere. I haven't quite figured out what I should be posting, quite frankly. So I'm just not sure, but from people or mentors who were telling me, they're like, oh, at least twice a day. And then everybody was using stories, focus on stories, because not everybody's looking at the feed, so, I noticed when I got onto LinkedIn, because I don't know how to use it that well, all of a sudden it's starting to look more like Facebook. So, you know.
Right. Well, there's a lot to do on LinkedIn. So what you're going to have to kind of figure out to make this not so chaotic for yourself, and this is a great answer for all of you, is pick your strategy and stick with it, right? Because you can go a number of different ways. And a lot of this is going to depend on your personality. If you're somebody that's comfortable doing stories all day long, then do stories all day long. Right. But many people don't like to be on video constantly, you know, like, oh, look at me, I'm doing
Yeah.
a story. They don't want to do that. Then don't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Then don't do that. Then do what's comfortable for you. Can you write a story post? Great. Write a story post. Some people are writers and they love to write. They can probably do one every single day because it's easy for them. That's what I'm saying. A lot of this is going to depend on your personality. And there's a strategy that fits everyone's personality. Right. So it's going to be just a matter of how much time can you dedicate to it? How do you want to use it? So again, that's what I'm saying. The gurus might say, oh, you need to post once every day. Okay. But if you can't post once every day, can you post every other day? Can you post every few days? Right. I mean, maybe one, like I said, for me, what I typically do is I try to have 1 to 2 story posts a week, and then I'll just reshare other people's posts and maybe share links. Right? Resharing a post and sharing a link is not time consuming at all. The story posts take time because you've got to think about them. You've got to write them, right? You've got to put in the right hashtags. So great questions, Jackie. Hopefully that answered it. Okay. Tom, did I see you raise your hand?
Yes, Kelly, thanks. That was a really great seminar. Thank you. I'm not sure if Gordon asked about this when he was asking about testimonials, but do you have any comments on recommendations and soliciting, doing recommendations for clients and have them do one for you? Have any comments on that practice?
I think that's perfect. I think that's great. The more recommendations you have on LinkedIn, the better, but you want to get recommendations from people that you know, like, and trust, and you think are actually going to give you a good recommendation. I will give you a real life example. I cannot make this stuff up. I had a woman connect into me like a week ago, and I actually took a screenshot and saved this. Not going to show it now, but she connects to me, and then her first note to me is, thank you for connecting with me. Can you go give me a recommendation? I hear it's a good thing to do on LinkedIn. And I responded back and I said, I'm sorry. Do we know each other? I don't think I know you. And she said, no, we don't know each other, but that doesn't matter. You can still recommend me. Like, I can't make this stuff up. Right. So Tom, I don't think you're asking me that. Okay.
No.
No, but I think, asking recommendations and leaving recommendations for clients or peers, colleagues that you have a good relationship with is a wonderful thing to do.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Jackie, I see you raising your hand.
So on that note, I'm a medical practitioner. And so it's been really hard for me even to put on my website. I have some recommendations or testimonies, but a lot of people like to keep their anonymity, as well as there's the whole HIPAA situation. So any suggestions on how to get around that? Because a lot of people professionally like me, but they have not necessarily worked with me, and I, like you, it's really hard. I'm not going to give someone a recommendation just because I like that.
Oh, I think Jackie maybe froze. Is she frozen for everyone else? Okay. All right, well, let's see if she comes back and then I'll answer her question. Oh, Jackie, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I think I froze there for a second. Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep, you froze up. Okay.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to figure out is, for HIPAA issues, that's where I stand. How do I ask other medical professionals or other professionals just from networking? Okay, you meet me, you talk to me, you think I'm nice, but that to me isn't an authentic, testimony.
Yeah, so I think you're saying that the challenge is because your patients want to keep their anonymity and they don't want to. So, okay, so well, you might have a unique situation. For you, you may only be able to get them testimonials from peers that maybe know of your work or have interacted with you in different ways. Maybe you belong to professional groups. that's okay. For your website, if patients want to give testimonials but not use their name because of medical reasons, that's acceptable in your field. I don't think anybody would frown upon that and say, oh, their name's not under there. I mean, if it's a genuine testimonial, people will see that. For the testimonials aren't going to make you or break you. They're great to have, but if you don't have a lot of testimonials, no one is going to say, I can't work with Jackie because her LinkedIn profile doesn't have the right testimonials, right? I mean, it's a good thing to have, but if it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for you. Great question. Who's next? Don't be shy. All right, Jeff, I see you raising your hand.
I just want to say a couple of things. I can't see much because the light's coming in the window, but I thought this was a great class. Thanks for putting it on. I really appreciate it. As you know, I signed up for your other LinkedIn class, and I can't wait for that to be going because if it's half as good as this class, it's going to be awesome. But my real question is, this is something you said in the beginning, I quit my job by accident. So I'm curious, how does someone quit their job by accident?
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So it's a very funny story, and it's a true story. So I was networking while I had my day job. I was already networking to kind of discover other opportunities and see what else is out there in life for me, right? Because I was in my early mid 20s, and I had 2 jobs out of college, and I could already tell the whole traditional career wasn't going to work out for me. Because I'm an entrepreneur and I just didn't know it. Right.
Yeah.
So when I'm on stage, I tell people I discovered I had this disease called entrepreneurship, right? And I just didn't know it. So I was networking and building, this network. We're building the website, but I was afraid to quit my career, right? I was working at JP Morgan Chase, doing internal employee communications, very prestigious title, job. The salary was ridiculous for me being so young. How do you quit that? Right.
Yeah.
And so I was afraid to quit. And then one day in December of 2007, my manager calls me into her office, and she was like, Gelly, we need you here for more hours, yada, yada, yada. And I was already so checked out of that job. When she said, we need you here for more hours, I opened up my mouth. I didn't know what I was going to say. And I'm like, well, then I quit. And we were both like, and she's like, what? And I'm like, what? And she's like, Gelly, wait, think about that. We don't have to tell anyone you said that. Maybe, take it back. And I was like, no, if I said it, it literally fell out of my mouth. I'm done. That's so that was how I was not planning on quitting. It was just, but it was decided. So I put my 3 weeks in because this was early December, and come January 1st, 2008, we launched the website, and I just, the rest is history. So.
That's great. That's your subconscious coming through, right?
Yeah. No, it's a true story. I mean, I was not planning on quitting that day, and I had no idea what I was going to say when I opened up it was one of those surreal life moments. So.
Well, at a different time, I'll share some experiences in my background that parallel that, but that's for a different time.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Jeff. Anyone else? Questions? No other questions. So everything else made perfect sense. Okay, I love that. And so let me see. I can't see my, let's see. Oh, sorry. I was making sure I'm seeing the right screen. So good. Okay, so I'm glad this information was helpful. I think all of you have the optimal checklist. I see many of you already accessed it and are looking at it, which is wonderful. So like I said, so I'm running the course at 6 weeks. It's going to cover a lot of amazing information. There's so much more to cover. I mean, there's just when it comes to LinkedIn, and it works. I mean, you actually make money, on LinkedIn. It's not something you go and play on and just waste your time on. So again, if any of you are interested in participating in that, I would love to have you in this next session. Oh, I forgot to talk about when it starts. March 31st, Wednesday, March 31st. Everything is virtual. Here, let me actually, for those of you that are here, and if you're maybe still interested in that information, I skipped right over that slide. Let me just quickly share my screen about that. So Wednesdays from 12 to 1:30 p.m. Starting March 31st. Then we've got some April days. We have one date in May. And the first meeting is 2 hours. The last meeting is 2 hours, but everything else is 1.5 hours, and all calls will be recorded. So and then they're all virtual, obviously. And then for those people that may need payment plans, we can make that happen. You could just email me. You can just email me and we'll figure something out. Okay, Mary Beth, I see you're asking me about the link to the checklist. Let me put it in one more time. I put it up earlier. Okay, so there you go. For those of you that maybe need it again. April, I see you say thank you, or much appreciated. Thank you, of course. I didn't catch everyone's comments. I'm catching some now. Now that there's not as many people on the call, I can actually see the chat. When there's not many people on the call, it gets a little intense. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for joining. I definitely hope to see some of you, in the LinkedIn course. Like Jeff said, he's already joined. I've already had quite a few people sign up. So I expect to have another fun, full session. We go through it together. Again, it's a live-led course, so you can ask me questions. And then straight from the course, we go into the mastermind where, again, we do a lot more of the hands-on stuff. So that's that. So if there aren't any more questions, then I will let all of you get on with your Wednesday. And I hope to see all of you again soon, maybe on the Friday virtual calls. This Friday at 12 o'clock.
Thanks, Kelly. I'll see you soon.
All right. Awesome.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.
Bye-bye.